Hey, and we got some very good series going on, and we're gonna get all up into it. Let's go. What is going on, spectators? Welcome back to episode 135 of the Spectators. I'm Julian. I am here with Brooklyn and Omar. What is going on, boys?
Yo, 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 what's poppin', guys?
What's up, y'all? What's up?
And so,
Coming on.
like I started off. We said what's happening today. It's the NBA playoffs. It's one of the best times of the year. And it's starting to get to the point where the games are actually starting to get good. And the first round was actually pretty elite for first round standards, but we got some good matchups now. And I think what two of the series are tied 2-2 as of current recording. Those are going to be changing coming up tonight, obviously. So by the time you hear this, it might be a little bit different. But two of them are 2-2. One of them is 3-2. And
three or 2-2.
3 or
One's
2-2.
3-1.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, that one last night. Yeah. So we got some great series going on, and there's about an injury away from all four being 2-2. So let's get into it. Omar, you're a basketball guy. You're the resident basketball always watcher, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a basketball junkie. I'm in and out. Everywhere I go, I got the basketball on. So you already know my vibe. But yeah, this playoffs is amazing to watch so far. The first thing I wanted to talk about though is the MVP award and how people were like, controversial over it, and like how Jokic won it, and people are saying how Embiid should get it. Um, but honestly, I've never seen anybody more deserving of the award ever. I mean, there's a lot of people who are saying he shouldn't have gotten it. People are saying Embiid shouldn't have gotten it, but I think people are just mad that he's a second round pick. Embiid, obviously, top overall pick, trusted the process, had this whole climax of his career, the whole Ben Simmons saga. So yeah, it makes sense in like a storybook for him to have the MVP. But if we look at the numbers and we look at play style and like load on their own team, it's Jokic's award, and I think it's by a landslide too. I don't think it's even close.
And nobody's out here doing what Joker's doing. Like, you just look at him, and he's a one-in-a-generation type player. And with the numbers he's putting up, at the size he's doing it, at the efficiency he's doing it. I know Jew loves mentioning this.
I'm not
so
gonna
go
say
ahead,
it.
Jew.
I'm not gonna
Say
say it.
it.
I'm not gonna say it.
I'm
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
It's hard to argue giving him to Jokic back-to-back years. I'm on the train. Give it to him. He deserves it. I'm happy the NBA didn't do no weird thing. We're like, oh, we're not gonna do it, even
Yeah.
though they deserve it. But this other guy, it's gonna be a little more pretty if we give it to them. Give it to who deserves it. Jokic needed it. He got it. Shout out.
I think what more people are mad about is that the fact how, okay, Shaq has one MVP, Kobe has one MVP, yeah, now Jokic has two MVPs. So now technically, like the value of the award to in people's minds is kind of like devaluing. But honestly, have you watched a Nuggets game? Have you watched the Denver Nuggets game? If
Here's
you
what's
did,
crazy. Like, not
yeah,
to ever devalue anything Kobe and Shaq have ever done, because they're all time greats. They're two of the 20 to 25 best players ever. Like, even on the worst list, they're at worst 25, right? Like, they're there. They're all time greats. Um, but like, as it's going, and if the Joker is playing like this for 5-6 more seasons, he's better all time than those two guys. He just is. And so, you look at Kobe and look at like all time scoring points. Joker's not going to reach that point most likely unless he plays another 15 years. So there's a couple things that he won't surpass him with, and then you're definitely going to look at the rings at some point. I don't think Jokic is ever going to win a ring, because I think he's going to stay his career in Denver, and I think they're going to continue to get hurt, and even if they're not hurt, they're going to underperform, and that's just kind of what it is. But those are just simply not things I look at towards all-time great players, and maybe it's a hot take to say he'll be better, but look, he has 2 MVPs in a row with more dominant seasons than those guys maybe have ever had. Maybe not in terms of scoring, but in terms of being a great basketball player. And,
Another
if you,
another thing is that it's a completely different game now. You know what I mean? It's spacing, freedom of movement for the offensive player. It's spacing again. Like it's worth repeating it because it's never been like this in the Kobe and Shaq era. So I mean, based on this era, Jokic is our back-to-back MVP, whether you like it or not.
and what's crazy? In a league with Kevin Durant and LeBron James and Giannis and Joel Embiid and the loads of other great players, Steph Curry, like there's so many great players.
You can keep
in
on
the league
going
right
on
now.
and on.
There's so many great players. I mean, there's always great players, right? But there's so many, like particularly, like you look at that guy, it's like that's a Hall of Famer, that's a Hall of Famer, that's a Hall of Famer. He's the best of the group at the moment, outside of maybe Giannis, and that's crazy to me. Like, it's absolutely wild. So yeah, I agree with you. I think he deserves it. People are mostly complaining because Philly is down 0-2 to the Heat. He comes back. They win 2 games in a row. It's like, that's awesome if only this award meant anything about the playoffs. And it doesn't.
Exactly. I think
Because if
that's
this
what
award meant anything, Kawhi would have 2 or 3 MVPs. Like, he doesn't because it doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
right.
It's all right.
People forget it's a regular season award. And
Yeah.
regular season, Jokic is the MVP.
Yeah. 100% agree. Yeah. I'm right
Yeah,
there with you.
no doubt about that.
I'm glad y'all agree because if y'all didn't, I would have had to go crazy.
And it's really tough too because it's like hard to like discredit like Embiid, but like I didn't even think Embiid had the second best. I think Giannis was better this season. Like that's what's crazy to me too. It's like these guys are crazy. We have 3 legitimately superstar bigs, and there was like 4 years ago that we weren't sure we would ever have a superstar big again, just because of Steph and everything him and Dame were kind of doing. That it was like, oh, well, everybody's just going to keep doing this, and the bigs won't ever be relevant, and they are. They're very relevant.
And the big said, all right, bet. We're going to change our game, and we're going to make a name for ourselves, and here we are.
Bigs have, what, 4 straight MVPs now? Right? It was two by Giannis, then 2 by Jokic. Those were all consecutive, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bigs out here trying to dominate the All-Star weekend too with the skills comp, 3-point contest. So we get a little taste of everything with the bigs.
They're not only big, not only are their last 4 MVP bigs, but the last 4 MVPs are from overseas. So when will be the next time?
Wow.
When will be the next time we see an American-born MVP?
Because guess what? Luka's like right around the corner from becoming
That's what I'm
MVP
saying.
too. So it's like, it's one of those. And, that's an easy transition. We got Luka in the playoffs. He's still here. It's the second round. And I'll be the first to admit that I thought the Mavericks were going to be awful this year. I still think the Mavericks are awful. I do not like this team. I do not think they're a good basketball team. I think they're fun. I think they play hard. I think they're like a defensive, oddly team that like doesn't really make sense as to why they're winning games. And they're tied 2-2 with the Western Conference reigning champions right now. I don't know how.
This gotta be the surprise of the playoffs that like they're holding up against the Suns like this right now, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that you got Finney Smith out here going nuts and helping the team shoot 23s last game. 23s. For the Dallas Mavericks, are not known to be a 3-point shooting team.
Yeah.
What are we doing out here?
I think he had like 8 or like 9 or something last game. I don't know. He had 24 points is all I know.
24 points with 8 rebounds. Like that's not the guy that you go into your pregame meetings. Like, all right, if this guy beats us, we're fine with it. You're not okay with it if Finney Smith is out here beating you. No. You're throwing chairs, you're breaking clipboards, you're doing all of it if that guy's smoking you.
Yeah.
And here we are.
The crazy thing about game 4 is Luka didn't like play particularly well. Like he had moments and he was like facilitating really well. He was being a great like creator. but he was not particularly efficient at all. I think he hit 1 3. I think it was like 1 for 11 or 1 for 10 for three.
One for 10.
Yeah, 1 for 10 for three. He didn't play particularly well, and they wound up winning by double digits. So they were able to do it without him playing great, which is scary.
And it's crazy that we say him not playing great is him dropping 26, 11, and 7.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a level that we expect, and it's not the points, it's the efficiency, and that's
no,
kind of what the
I
league.
100% agree, but it's like, it's just wild. Like, players would kill to have those stats.
I think you just said Finney Smith balled out with 24, and Luca literally scored more, and I just like roasted him.
Yeah, well, his
Perspective's
usage,
wild.
yeah, his usage rate is like through the roof. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, kudos to Mark Cuban though for putting this team together. I mean, nobody would. He saw the vision before the season, and everybody gave him flack for trading Porzingis.
Well, not that one.
Sure. Okay, but yeah, a lot of people did. They're like, "Why would you trade that? Why?" But I mean, although Spencer Dinwiddie isn't like doing much,
Good.
but yeah,
Not
they're doing. I mean, tied 2-2 right now. Nobody expected this. Nobody expected this, but people. How about the Suns though? It's like they're looking shaky. First they lose, a couple games to the young Buck Pelicans. Now they're losing 2 games to the Mavs, who have nobody but Luca. I don't. I mean, let's say they beat the Mavs. I don't see them beating Golden State.
See, here's the thing, right? Coming into the playoffs, at least the way I was looking at the playoffs, it was the Suns and Golden State versus everybody in the West, and they were gonna kind of steamroll their way through, right? That's how I felt looking in. The Suns have just not steamrolled at all, and I don't know if it's proving that the West is still as deep as it has been in the past, or if just the Suns aren't ready for teams that are prepared for them. Maybe I think last year was more of a this is the first time we've been good. You've never seen us in the playoffs. We're going to surprise you. And now we got a full playoff to watch how they perform in the playoffs. And there's some game planning now. You can kind of see their tendencies. That's what happens when you have a target on your back. And the great teams escape those targets and break the molds on that. And that's what the Warriors are doing. I mean, we've seen this Warriors team for a half a decade now outside of 2 seasons. And they're still just business as usual. They played horrific last night, like really bad, and they got a dub. There's no Ja on the other side, but the Memphis Grizzlies have been fantastic even without him. So this was not like free win.
And shout out to Steph for dropping 18 in the fourth and giving them that little extra boost that they needed to make it happen. Because without that, it's probably a wrap, and it's probably 2-2 right now across the board.
Yeah, I mean, the Warriors got the W. Steph went off in the fourth, but you could argue that nobody had a great game that game. Like, that was probably one of the ugliest games of the playoffs so far. Like, it was just ugly to watch. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those just like ugly playoff wins. I mean, yeah, it comes off as a W at the end of the day, but it's not a W that you take pride over. I mean, I think at one point, the Grizzlies lost this game because they didn't have Ja, but I think they lost this game without the Warriors scoring in the last, having a field goal in the last 3 minutes, because I think it was a bunch of just Steph Curry free throws and a whole bunch of free throws from the whole Warriors team. But I think the last 3 minutes they didn't have a field goal. So I mean, and the Grizzlies just had nobody to put the ball in the bucket, and
they were just tired is kind of the thing. Like they came into the fourth quarter and they forgot their identity, and they're a team that first and foremost, before anything else, they play hard defense. And giving up 39 points in the fourth quarter is simply not going to win you any basketball games. You're not going to win any basketball games giving up 40 in the last quarter of the game. If you give up 40 in the first or the second, you have a whole half to kind of like, okay, let's hunker down. Let's put our nose in the dirt and let's hold the line.
Yeah.
You give up that many and you lose by 3.
Yeah, brutal. I think if you if you are to blame one person for the Memphis loss, I'm gonna put it on Dylan Brooks
Yeah,
because
he was awful in the
like
fourth.
horrible. Not even the fourth, the whole game. What do you have? 12, 5, and 8. He shot 26%, 5 for 19. That's horrible, horrendous. But like I feel like this guy, he should have all the motivation to have the biggest game of his career. One, Ja's out. Two, he basically got
Two games.
two game suspension because he got ejected in the beginning of that game and then suspended the next game. So he basically missed 2 games. He's in the Warriors arena where they're booing him every time he touches the ball. So it's like he has all these motivational factors to have a great game, and then he just goes out and does this. Even his first shot was just a straight up air ball. But horrible, disappointing performance by Dylan Brooks. Even you could even argue their coach, Jenkins. He was just making weird, non-subs, weird rotations. I mean, the blame goes around, but at the end of the day, I don't think Ja's coming back. Ja's done. They don't want to say that he's done, but he's done.
Well,
I think it's a bone bruise.
It came out today that it's not looking like he's going to return for the playoffs.
He's not.
So
So
not
rest in
confirmed
peace.
yet, but
Rest in peace to the Memphis Grizzlies. They had a good run, but
They did have a good run. I would love it if they can steal one more game just to do it. But
yeah, but to come back and win the series.
no. It's 3-1 anyway. It's a wrap. Like you guys know basketball. Like 3-1 doesn't happen. It's the reason we make all the Warriors memes from a couple years ago because 3-1 just doesn't happen.
Especially when you're going up against the Warriors, like it's not an easy task.
I mean, hey, to be fair, they have like the second worst percentage in 3-1 series of all time. So
that's fine.
it's very
So
small.
if there is a team to do it against, I guess it is them in theory.
I guess.
But no, it's just this series is over. They had plenty of chances. They could have won game 1. They missed the layup. It gets blocked. They missed the layup. Whatever. They could have won it. They didn't. The Dylan Brooks thing is just really tough. He shouldn't have been suspended for essentially 2 games. He was. They got blown out game 3. No Ja game 4. They had a lot of tough breaks, and great teams kind of get past them, and they didn't, and that's okay. They're young still.
Yeah, the future for this Memphis team is really, really bright, and this is just something to feed off of going forward. So
Yeah, nobody
to go out though.
Yeah, nobody expected them to go this far. So good for them.
I think that's kind of part of the problem, though. Like it's always easy to say the future is bright for a team, but like, how many years are they gonna have to lose to the Warriors to like make this a bright future or like something that's not working? And I don't think we're at that point yet. But like, let's not get it to that point.
You would give them probably another 2 to 3, and then after that,
yeah,
even that's a lot. But
just don't become Utah, is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
like
work your free agency, get a nice draft.
you have to get better. That's the bottom line. You have to get better.
Come back. Let Ja keep on developing into the superstar and possibly MVP one day. And see where it takes you. But the window's not as big as they would like it to be, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, windows are weird in sports because they just close so quick. You got to take advantage of these opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's go out east.
Chemistry is the biggest thing. You can't replicate that.
Yeah.
If you're feeding off chemistry one year and you don't bank on it, can't bottle that up and take it into next season.
You cannot. East Coast games.
Right.
Who you want to start with? Because
You already know the game of Al Horford's career. What is up with Al Horford? Who saw that coming? It looked like he just turned into Giannis. He was making Giannis look like a chair. Like it was insane. What do you have? 30 and 8? That's insane. And he's damn near 36. And that was probably his best playoff performance of his life.
Of his career, probably. He might have had a really good one or two with Atlanta.
Or at least the most important,
Yeah, certainly the most important.
I'll bet on that.
So it's like insane. He turned back the clock crazy. And but I think that's what the Celtics are missing. They're missing like a leader. Like they have Jason Tatum, they have Jaylen Brown, but they're young.
Leader. If there's
I
anything
don't
we've
think he's a
learned about
leader.
Jason Tatum over the last 5-6 years,
He's not a
he's not a
leader.
leader. He's a
He's just a
almost
hooper.
superstar, but he's not a
Yeah, he's a
leader.
hooper.
That's okay. That's fine.
But I feel like you need that to become a superstar, like a super elite
Think
omega
so?
star. To be
I
an
agree.
omega
I
star,
agree.
like a Giannis or
But
like a
there's only
LeBron.
5 of those in the league at a given time anyway. So
Yeah, that's what it is to be an omega star. But if Jason Tatum wants to get to that point, but then again, KD is at that omega star level, and he's not much of a leader.
I,
So
KD is strictly because he's maybe the most talented, like skilled shooter out of his size we've ever seen. That's the only reason. Because
right,
nobody has ever once, outside of like a locker room that he's buddy with KD, praised him about his leadership. Like that
no,
just doesn't
Yeah.
happen. This doesn't
no,
happen. And again, that's okay.
yeah,
Clearly,
um,
it's not when you're losing to the Celtics, and you shouldn't. But
yeah. It's a necessary.
those are things that get you losing series.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a necessary characteristic to win games. You just need a leader,
Absolutely.
and yeah, and I think that's where Al Horford kind of stepped up. Like his experience, his age, his leadership willed them to that win, and it was just awesome to see. Honestly, I've never been a huge Al Horford guy. Like I kind of hated is a big word. I didn't hate him, but I just disliked him for some weird reason. Maybe
You know what
because
I think it was? I think when
what is it?
Al Horford initially signed his max contract, because he signed a max deal. I think it was
Right.
with the Celtics the first time, right?
Was it the Celtics or the Sixers? Or was it with the Celtics and then he got traded to the Sixers?
He signed with the Celtics, got traded to the
Celtics.
Sixers, which I can't stand. I want to throw this out there. The Celtics, the Sixers, and the Nets are the worst rivals of all time because they just trade superstars to each other. You guys are
Yeah.
weird. You're
Yeah.
supposed to dislike each other, not trade max contracts amongst each other like it's hot potato. You guys are weird. Let's throw
They
that
are
out
weird.
there. Let's
I mean, yeah, that's
three,
why they
just
haven't
whatever.
won anything.
Yeah, they
No,
haven't
I
done
agree.
anything because their culture is not there. So like they're just hot potato guys.
Yeah.
Horford when he signed his max deal was pretty objectively not the best. Like he was again a good defender. He was shooting really poorly the first time with the Celtics. They trade him over to the 76ers, hope it changes, doesn't change. He winds up going to OKC where he just here's the thing about Al Horford. He did not play basketball last season. He was incredibly healthy. He was the healthiest player of all time to not play for a full season. Because he's like, do y'all want to win? They're like, nah. He's like, bet.
He played some games in OKC and he was good. Like he was a solid leader for that team. But I mean, obviously he didn't play much games because they were tanking.
Yeah.
But the games that he played, he put up solid numbers. And like when he was initially traded for Kemba, people were like, "Oh, that's a steal. Why would you trade Kemba for Al Horford's corpse?" But I mean, look at it in hindsight. Look at it in
Hindsight's a crazy
hindsight. Right
thing.
in hindsight, that was a steal. Kemba is a corpse. He has no knees. And Al Horford just had his best game of his playoff career, and it's
And the
just
best
amazing
season
to
he's
see.
had in like 5.
Yeah, shout out to Danny Ainge once again, or is it Brad Stevens now? I don't
It's
even.
Brad Stevens. Here's the
Brad.
thing, though. We say Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge once again, but like you keep doing these great things, and you get these really shiny medals, and you make them look a little less shiny. Like they're still shiny and they're really cool, but like you have to win this series. You have to,
I don't see them. I can't see them winning the series.
because like it's kind of weird, right? This Celtics team is really young. Again, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, super young core. Grant Williams, young. Marcus Smart's middling. He's on the late side of young at this point. He's been around for a while
He's a
now.
vet.
Yeah,
He's a vet.
he's a vet at this point. Peyton Pritchard is not the player that he looked like he might be.
All he can
And
do is
then
dribble.
Al
He's
Horford
weird.
is
He shows
37
up
years old.
sometimes and, yeah.
So, does this team that doesn't have a bona fide center, and I mean, I know Robert's out, but he's out every third week, so like that's just kind of his characteristic. Is a team like this who's built on defense? You saw it last year with the Knicks. Obviously, this team has a lot more talent, but like teams that are built on defense don't last year to year because defense is a way harder thing to do and keep the energy up on than offense. Having a good offense is easy because it's so easy to score in the NBA.
And as I said with the
Right.
chemistry, that defensive chemistry, especially with this Celtic team, because you see them the way they switch, the way they get up on people, swarm the ball, they're on top of it. It's hard to really get that and solidify that as a unit. And they're doing it right now. And they really, really got to keep that foot on the pedal against this Milwaukee team, because if they give them any steam, Giannis will go nuts,
Yeah.
especially when it really, really matters.
Just
And we're coming up on that. We're on a 3-game series now.
yeah. I
So
mean,
how you gonna play it?
I don't know if y'all watched that last game, but going at the end of the third quarter, it looked like the Bucks were just gonna take it. I mean, they were only up 7 at the end of the third, but in this type of matchup, a 7-point lead is pretty massive, especially if another team is struggling.
With how good the defenses have been. Yeah.
That too. So I just thought they were just gonna run away with it. Just Giannis's numbers just incredible. He had 34 and 18 rebounds, and then for sprinkling 5 assists. On top of that, he took 32 shots. That's pretty massive. I mean, yeah, granted that Middleton is out, but if Giannis has 34 points on 32 shots, and you guys are losing. Something needs to change. I don't know what it is, but they gotta somebody's got to step up. I mean, Drew Holiday only had 16. Brook had 17, which is impressive, but somebody other not named Giannis is probably gonna have to step up big time if the Bucks want to get away from the series. Which I see them winning this series, but I don't know how. But I want them to win because I just hate Boston. I hate Boston. I
I did
I want to
too.
see Boston die. Um,
You gotta
but
hope
yeah,
Bobby Portis goes off and gives
You
them that
gotta hope
extra little
Bobby
push.
Portis gives you something. He's like an
Yeah.
actual player
For
on this team. Like he's part of the
yeah.
machine, and
yeah.
he has not played well. So
He had
No.
4 points on 7 attempts. I don't think he has any play calls for him, and
I mean
I mean,
that's fine. You don't need to have Bobby Portis play calls. I think you just have him with that second unit, and there needs to
yeah,
be like
Just have
yeah,
him try to be a dog inside. Try
or
to get some second chance points.
pull him in a
Try to
pick and
make
roll.
some.
He's like a good pick and roll player. Like
Yeah,
what does
just
it
get
matter?
something. Like get him like 9 to 12 points and you're solid. But we can't have 4 points out here. And I know Bobby could give you a little more than that.
yeah. I mean, I also think Budenholzer has like some holes in his game, in his like game plan. Um, I just feel like he got to utilize like Brook Lopez more. Like Brook Lopez was a bona fide all-star back in Brooklyn. He did his thing. I mean, he went to the Lakers, put up some numbers, but it wasn't crazy. But in Brooklyn, he was he was looking like I don't want to compare him with anybody
Don't
crazy.
don't do it.
He
Don't
was
say it.
yeah, I'm
Don't
not
say
even
it.
gonna do it. I'm not
Don't
even
say
gonna do
it.
it. But he was looking good. He was looking real good in Brooklyn. So and he was a lot of like back to the basket. So I feel like right now they're kind of using him like a stretch four.
Which he's
Make
been fantastic at, to be
He
fair.
he
he's
has been.
developed his shot a
He
lot.
has been. But he also has that post game
He
that
does.
they're not even trying. Like they're just completely dismantled that out of his game. And I feel like if you just throw in a couple, here and there, maybe after a timeout play or something, just to get him going, maybe, give Giannis some help. But yeah, if Giannis is taking 34 shots for 32 points every game, I don't see them winning the series.
Yeah. But shout out to Giannis for putting up 32 shots and shooting 43%. Impressive on his part.
But the type of shots he takes, though, I don't see that as that impressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of his shots are just right there, like right by the basket.
No,
So
I agree, but anytime you're putting up that high of a clip,
true, true. It is pretty impressive. I'm not gonna
Listen,
lie.
if the Celtics lose this series, it's gonna be really tough for them moving forward because Chris Middleton is a member of this team for the foreseeable future, and he is very, very good. And to lose a series like this, if they do it, without that guy who's arguably like an A type of star in this league, like he's fringe A star. He's that talented. He's definitely like more of a B guy, but like he's
In
there.
the playoffs, though, and he's the A.
Exactly. And like he's a guy who can take over a game. And if you can take over a game in the playoffs, that's a problem.
Right.
So to if they don't win this series, and it's a lot. They won game 4. It's hard to like give them a lot of flack. The series is tied. They kind of held strong in the home court, quote unquote. Like that's okay. And I think they're the higher seed in this too, so they can end this. They have to go 7 now, or no, they don't. But if they go 7, it's at their place. So important. But if they don't win this, that's not the best of looks because the Bucks aren't going anywhere, even if you win this season. Like they're gonna be good again next season. They just will be.
Definitely. Yeah.
I know, it's a lot of forward looking, but it's you know.
You would hope they ramp up a little bit to help Middleton and Giannis and Drew. Get them another scorer on top of that.
They tried that with George Hill, and George Hill has been tossed around the league the last half decade as if he's actually a baller. It's just kind of funny.
I'm not going to throw George Hill in there. I refuse.
That was the big pickup. That was the big pickup.
I'm not here for it.
But I just think they're just missing that one piece, Boston. As you guys said, like they're a good defensive team, but if they just need that bucket and Tatum is amazing. I love Tatum, but when he's hot, he's hot. But when he's cold, he's frozen. Like he's just horrendous. If his shot is not falling, it's just not. He just does not look like that superstar player that he can be. But throw in someone like Donovan Mitchell on that team. That could be a chip.
How did they get him? How does that happen?
Just trade Al Horford. Straight up, 1-for-1.
Mega mind, 1-for-1. Yes, that is a Utah move. Let's clog the lane with 2 giants that hate each other.
Oh my god.
I'm down. I'm absolutely down. Yeah, and I mean,
insane.
We'll kind of see what happens with them, but let's go to the guy we started the show with, right? Joel Embiid. He comes back. He has the mask. He is the reincarnate of LeBron with the black mask, who is actually a different animal when he has that on. And Joel has come back and made the world a difference. He hasn't been that top 3 MVP player since he's been back. He has a couple of injuries kind of stacked on top of each other at this point. And just the fact that he's even on the court is kind of impressive. It shows a lot of heart from him, and I definitely respect that to an extent. But just him being there, right? Just him being on the court makes so much of a difference because he's like the heart and soul of this team. It's like when Draymond is out, and granted they're 2 different stories, but like it's like when Draymond is out for the Warriors, where like they kind of just like lose a step, they lose like a smirk, like they don't get as excited about things. Just because this is the guy who makes that fun part of the game kind of happen for the team. And he had 24 in their win yesterday, game 4. But really, it was the James Harden show, and he finally, for the first time in this playoffs, like played like the superstar that he is.
Quietly too. Nobody really talked about that. Really. Yeah, James Harden had 31 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists on
Vintage Harden
8 for 18 shooting. It's pretty good. Actually excellent for the way he's been playing. That's amazing. So who knows if they get playoff hard? I mean, like Houston Harden back is dangerous. I mean, how's it looking right now? I think they're playing as
they got like 7 points right now.
Yeah,
already?
I mean,
the game just started.
Yeah, I really do not see Miami losing this series just based off how deep they go, but I do see it going 7 games, maybe 6. But yeah, I don't see Miami losing because it is crazy that they lost that last game, especially with Jimmy Butler dropping 40, which is not like the Miami Heat because usually when they win games, everybody kind of has
17s across the stat sheet.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like a team win. They never really win with like one person going off. But that's how deep they are, and I think they have literally everything you need to win a championship. They have that defense. They have that 6-man. They have that 3 vocal leaders, a defensive anchor, the 2-way star in Jimmy, a veteran in Lowry. Like they just have every single piece. Shout out Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra because they did a wonderful job. PJ Tucker, Strus, Victor Oladipo. Like this team is incredible. I don't know how they lost those 2 games. Maybe they put their foot off the pedal, or maybe they got scared because Embiid got back. I don't know, but I think they win the series. I don't know if they win it in 6 or 7, but they win the series.
I
My
do think
biggest
tonight will be
fear.
a bounce back game for them. But everything you mentioned with them, they have to lock in on all of that and execute. Because if they don't and they fall off anywhere on the wagon for any of those spots, and you let Houston playoff Harden come out and B does what he almost won MVP would throughout the season, they match up and bring both of that on a night. They could very easily win if Miami doesn't show up. So you gotta hope that Miami keeps this thing rolling because it definitely could go 7, and if you go 7, it's gonna be scary.
Yeah, in a
Yeah.
game 7, I don't like Miami to beat
No,
any of the teams that are left if it's
No.
in game 7, just because of
No.
that guy. And I like Jimmy Butler. And you know what? There's been a lot of Jimmy Butler slander that's kind of happened this season, which is the strangest slander in the world because Jimmy Butler was literally the best player on the best team in the NBA besides the Suns, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like Jimmy didn't really play particularly great offensively, which is obviously it's an offense game first and foremost. He shot like 30% from 3 this year. He has been fantastic in the playoffs. Like the best version of Jimmy Butler I have ever seen has been in the playoffs this year, and that's including the bubble Jimmy. This one's better. So
Yeah,
I
no
want to
doubt.
to give him some like credit. He's playing out of his mind. He's scoring incredibly efficiently. He's shooting the 3. He's still defending really well. Cuz like it's either Maxey or Harden is going off, but he's on the other one and that one's not doing well.
Yeah,
So-
shout out Jimmy, man. He's doing his thing down in Miami.
Now the one thing that I'm
Yes.
worried about with the Heat is not like them working. I think they'll be better. And I don't think you're getting 11 out of Tyler Hero every night on like really poor shooting nights. PJ's PJ. Bam has been Bam. I'm worried about Kyle Lowry because he's getting a little bit older. You're seeing the age on the court. He's still been fantastic in terms of like creating and facilitating, but he's getting older. And he's not a guy that outside of the one run that they've had has shown to be good in the playoffs. And last night or 2 nights ago, whenever that was, showed it. He was bad. He was just not good. And that was the old Raptors Kyle Lowry we saw before Kawhi got there. And if he's like that for another game or two, that might be it. That might be everything for Miami. Now they're up 12 right now, so everything I'm saying, I might be an idiot, but
Again, I said bounce back game tonight, but then you still got 2 games to worry about after that. So
Yeah, Lowry is definitely not what he used to be, but yeah, they could from what he could give. I think they could supplement like the things that they lose out on, like playing old Lowry. But yeah, from
he's
what
actually
they
not playing tonight, by the way. He's out.
Oh, he's out.
Yeah, he's out for this game. He's out with his hamstring.
That's
So,
nothing new. Yeah,
no.
seems like a
mean,
reoccurring issue.
yeah, and when you look at the last 3 games, I think he had 6, and then the game before that he had 0. So I mean,
Hey, maybe it better
No,
give
not.
him maybe that
Yeah.
hamstring's really been hurting. I don't know. Give him this day off. Or
Yeah.
win. I don't know.
You know, when you reach a certain age, I think your hamstring just like never stops. It doesn't heal anymore. So I think he might have to just
and that's the thing.
It doesn't
there's
help
not
when you're
enough
playing
time.
deep runs in the playoff
Yeah,
every year.
there's
I mean,
not enough time to heal.
yeah, and that's the one thing that's crazy about like LeBron and like even Steph to an extent. They've played so many years of so much basketball because they make the finals every season that it's like, man, how are you still healthy?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. So shout out to the Lakers for keeping LeBron good for another year or two for being terrible. Appreciate that.
that's
Guys.
what happens when you spend $1 million on your body a year.
Do it.
I wish I could do that.
I wish
Right.
I could spend 100,000 on anything in a year, but you know.
Yeah,
One
That's-
day. One
that's,
day.
Yeah, that's
Ooh.
different though.
we'll get
Um,
there.
Any
Once those
any
spectator sponsors start hitting.
hey, hit us up. The email's there somewhere. Y'all know where to
You're-
find us. It's in the description.
Place your sponsor here.
Ding, 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 ding. Any final thoughts on the playoffs as we approach the third round? Conference finals are coming up.
Um,
They are.
just quick final thoughts. I think the second round is crazy, cool, and exciting. But the first, it's just so hard to bounce back, like just to replicate the performance from the first. The first round was just so crazy. I love the first round, so I don't want to compare that with the second round. So hopefully the third round could be as exciting as the first round. Not to say the second round isn't exciting, but I'm looking forward to the third round because what we got. So hypothetically, if Miami wins, I think Milwaukee wins. That's going to be a crazy matchup, Miami Milwaukee, especially with considering their history, how Miami swept them. I think was that the bubble year? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was the bubble year. So I'm pretty sure that's in the back of Giannis's mind. Uh, if they get Middleton back, I think the Bucks win that series. If they don't, then it's probably the Heat. And on the other side of the country, we got Dallas versus Golden State, hypothetically, in the third round. That's going to be a series for the ages. I think that goes seven, no doubt. But I think the Warriors do some magic, some voodoo, some Curry chefing it up or something. And Clay and Poole and Draymond, I think they go over the hump. Their 2 year break from the finals, I think is over,
Get back.
and I think they reach it
I think the
again.
coolest thing right now is that it feels like whoever's gonna win it all is really up in the air right now. I don't think you can really look at any one team and be like, I got no doubt that they're doing this, considering how everybody's playing at the moment. Like
Right.
going into the playoffs, you probably think Phoenix, you probably think Milwaukee, but now you look at both of those series, how those are playing out. You look at Golden State with how that Memphis series is playing out. You look at Philly finally showing up against Miami. Like, with all these things coming into effect, like, who knows where this thing really ends up when we get to the conference finals? Because we could just get flipped on its head and it could be, like you said, Dallas and Golden State. Who would have thought that? Who
Yeah.
thought that? And then, like, you could possibly get Philly and Boston. Like, it's going to be fun. And I'm really excited. I don't think there's a matchup that I don't want to see. Like, I think Dallas in there,
I think the
probably
most
the
boring
worst.
matchup we could see is Dallas Miami.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
like the most boring one. But it's not
And
even a
that,
bad finals if that happens.
yeah.
Not even a bad finals.
No.
Because guess what?
Oh,
You get Dallas and Miami again who haven't played since dirt.
Twen-
Like that's
2011.
sick. Yeah,
and
that's
then
really
you get Luca in the finals. You get Jimmy in the finals again to prove himself for all the bubble people who discredit that. So it's fun across the board. I'm really hyped for it, and shout out to NBA, man.
All right, predictions, real quick. Who's your finals predictions? I got Golden State and Miami.
I'm sticking with Golden State, Milwaukee. I've kind of felt that way for a couple months now. Gonna stick with that.
I feel like that too, but just to get off the same hype train, I'll go Golden State, Boston.
I
So
like
it's
that.
Golden State though. We're all kind of in agreement with that.
Yeah, I think we all got Golden State going. I'm
Yeah,
about
because
to.
I do think Golden State once they run up to run up against Philly. I mean, not Philly, Phoenix. Inevitably, I think they wax them.
Yeah,
I
same.
I think that firepower of the death lineup of Golden State
Yeah,
is just gonna be too much for
yeah,
old man CP3 and
Oh,
young man D Book to handle it. I
correct. Yeah, I
there
mean
has to
they.
I,
be a
I don't.
point where Chris Paul gets disrespected and sick and tired of losing to Steph in the playoffs, right?
No,
Or
Yeah,
no, or no.
but
no. I think
he
yeah,
was just
no.
gonna keep on adding on to that lore.
I think Chris Paul retires first before beating Steph in the playoffs.
I love
And
it.
then when CP is partnering with 2K and he's running his franchise mode and he's just nerfing the Warriors team every year, putting CP3 on each of his teams, that's when he'll finally get his redemption. But as of now, you're getting torched.
It's like that.
Sadly,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's
what
how it
happens.
is. Um,
Yeah,
Hate to see it.
is it? I don't even think. I agree. I don't even think I
yeah.
hate to see it.
Yeah, I don't even hate to see it. Sometimes I don't even like Chris Paul. I mean, I like how he plays. I like him as a basketball player. But just like
Sometimes he's just like, dude, shut up.
as a guy though, you
Like,
know?
shut
It's
up,
just like
Chris.
yeah, I don't want to hang out with him.
Oh, shut up, Chris.
Yeah,
He's a
he's
great
annoying.
basketball player.
He is a great basketball player, one of the greatest point guards. But as a person, I wouldn't get a drink with him.
Omar's out here big leaguing Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna let you all go watch the games because we do have 2 games tonight. Again, the Heat game is on. Like, we're gonna get there. It's gonna be the second quarter. So appreciate
Turning on right
everybody.
now.
Make sure you follow us at Spectators Media, the new @ It's been a couple weeks now, but the new @ So if you don't already follow us, go ahead and follow us. It is all of our socials. Go check us out on YouTube if you weren't already watching that on there. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. And Omar, thank you for stopping by with us. It's always a pleasure talking some basketball with you. BK, I'll see you next week. Actually, I won't see you next week. That's a lie. We're going to have a guest. I don't even know who it's going to be, but next week we got a guest. So we got
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be here. I got some prior engagements I got to take care of. Unfortunately, I hate jury duty. First time ever. I don't recommend it. I haven't even done it yet, and I don't recommend it.
But I'll be here with you guys next week. So we'll see you next Monday. Business as usual. And Spectators out. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Ciao.